And welcome to the Hardways annual award show. This is our first ever annual. I guess we never came up with a name for these. We could call them the Hardies. That sounds pretty gross. Or I guess it's our...
Wait, I told you we should call them the Posties.
The Posties. I don't know. We'll let you guys decide. Whatever, we got awards. We got names for the awards now.
And also, we want to say that anybody that's that ends up winning one of the awards, if you actually want to claim your award, come on the show.
Come on the show.
We'll give it to you.
Or do it live via satellite, like
you guys. The award is Benny. You guys get to have Benny.
Well, anyways, we're going to talk briefly about the news for this year, or not this year. I mean, what happened this week.
For this year, we're talking about the news for the entire year.
We're making like an encyclopedia episode tonight.
George Bush was no longer president, but he still fucked up the country,
like other presidents did. And so we will go.
Bill Clinton.
And I guess the biggest news is going to be
the biggest news is
happened.
I'm not drinking McDonald's.
No, it's not. No, that Jericho apparently really is the second 2012 guy. Came out in the news this morning.
Well, he's not the second 2012 guy. He's the only 2012 guy.
So they
had another guy, and they decided.
The news came out that Jericho's flights are going to be in Memphis. I mean, it's not a coincidence that I think it's Memphis.
Well, not just that, but he also on his Twitter made a big deal about he's tired of people asking the questions that he's not going to answer any more WWE questions or wrestling questions that he's done with WWE. And it was too much like when Mick Foley kept accidentally putting up the Twitters that I'm going to be here and I'm going to be there, and like, come on, you really want to throw people off? Don't do it that way.
No, yeah, so whatever. I mean, it's going to... I don't want... I love if WWE swerved us all and really pick someone. What's the odds? If you were to be a betting man, what's the percentage chance of it not being Jericho?
Probably about 20%.
That high? Wow.
I would imagine when they came up with the idea, they had at least 3 to 4 guys as backups in case something happened, you know. So I'm sure they have backups. They're probably not as good. Like if it was Brodus Clay, like people talk about.
That would be good though. But he's going to debut on that Raw anyways. They already said that.
One of the jokes that I thought was funny was a guy said that Brodus Clay would debut, and then later on he'd return, and he'd be a different character. He'd have a dress and like.
I saw a funny Brodus Clay thing a couple weeks ago from WrestleZone's Twitter page. They had a thing, you know, like there's hashtags where it's like you put like a wrestler's name. They put, what will happen before you see Brodus Clay's debut? And people were replying to it. And like some were goofy. Like I put Ultimate Warrior being in WWE's Hall of Fame.
Jesus coming back.
And I put, some guy put 2013.
Well,
dude, you know what though? The cool thing is, at least for Brodus Clay, he's getting a free ride right now.
Yeah, but he's already been there.
Yeah,
like, they're making a big deal. He's already been there. He was with Del Rio.
I know. He was in NXT and stuff.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, I don't even understand the whole thing with the guy because I don't see it. Like, he looks like a Taz ripoff, and
he's a fatter, giant Taz ripoff.
And his fucking finishing move is a flying body press.
Well, that's because he has, like, no skills whatsoever.
What, is he from the 80s? Like, Ricky Steamboat? You know, like...
Yeah, well...
Makes no sense.
You know,
don't understand what the big deal about Brodus.
Other than that, there really hasn't been a hell of a lot of news. This is typical, like, town turn in order to, at the end of the year, like...
Well, there is worth talking about at the end of Raw. Well, first off, like I told you earlier, the Punk thing, him telling Laurinaitis that, like, he's the least predictable guy in the world... Laurinaitis did everything to prove it by screwing Punk. I mean, who didn't see that coming?
Right.
That was the most predictable thing that he could have done. And then, like we talked about, the end of Raw, if you go on YouTube to WWE's official, what is it, WWE Fan Nation. If you go on and you watch the Kane segment at the end of the Raw, we
Oh,
pretty much
my
came to
God,
the
this is
conclusion
bad.
that the first two Cena chants
The "Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks."
were piped in. That if you watch the
Yep.
crowd, nobody's mouth's moving, nobody's
They gave it away.
reacting.
They gave it away like they would do with the Goldberg chants in WCW. They cut to the crowd while Kane's talking, and you hear "Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks." All the audio sounded identical in terms of like the
Yeah.
decibel. You're the one that pointed it out to me, and then I just happened to be watching that Kane segment before here,
Yeah.
and then.
Well, I noticed
it cuts the crowd, and no one, they're just staring because like they want
I
to hear
noticed
Kane.
it Monday night.
They want to hear Kane.
Yeah, I noticed it Monday night, and the first thing that gave it away was when I heard the audio. I was like, that sounds exactly like the night that he said he was retiring, and he wanted to hear the fans say, "Let's go Cena," and the other group go, "Cena sucks." It sounds like they just recorded that, put it together, and was playing it. And now that I think about it, there's so many times I've heard that audio from pay-per-views to different live events
Well,
that I think that they've been
a
doing
couple
this
weeks
for a
ago
while.
when it was really big, was it when Cena was talking? That one was legit, I think.
Yeah, but no, I think a lot of them. If you go back and rewatch it, whenever they put out the best of, like,
Punk, Cena, greatest rivalries.
or no, when they put out the best of
2011.
Raw,
Oh
2011.
yeah, they did just put out the best pay-per-view matches of
Yes.
2011. I did happen to notice that over the weekend.
which is in case you guys were gonna buy it, it's a blank disc.
Well, no. We have some nominees from the pay-per-view.
There's some ROH matches. There's some Dragon Gate stuff.
Somehow an AWA match made it from 1984.
Well,
I don't
no,
know
it
how
had
they
to be
made it.
2011.
Well, W just threw the logo in the corner and said it was. To WB, it's new.
But
Never aired before.
But yeah, if you watch it, you can definitely tell the times that it's piped in and it's not.
Because when it was legit on that Raw, it was so low that crowd just didn't give two shits about either way. They just didn't want to care.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty stupid.
Well, just like the rest of America, they don't care about Cena.
But
So, with that note,
should we go into our news or not? No. Our
Yes.
award show.
our news is we have more news.
Now, we're gonna go into our awards.
Yes.
The posties. I guess so far.
Yes.
Gotta get your posties.
They are the post 2012 awards.
Well, it'd be pre 2012 awards.
But they're the
Post 2011.
2010
Or
awards.
2011, it counts, whatever. We're a couple days away, whatever, it counts. We're going to start off with the Sunny Days
Remember
Award.
our first show of the new year, we're going to be fucking plastered.
Yeah. We're going to start with the Sunny Days Award. The Sunny Days.
And the winner is
the female-
Bret Hart.
The female wrestler of the year, which is it's an allusion to when Shawn Michaels said, "Was it
Bret's lately seen
Sunny Days because apparently he was having an affair with Sunny or something at the time, supposedly, and he got upset at it. And this is when Shawn was being a dick. I mean, this is when
So was Shawn. So I don't know why. It was a bit. Who in the locker room back then?
probably wasn't. Yeah, and
We know she didn't sleep with Ahmed Johnson.
oh, that's right. She didn't sleep with him because she was up all night.
Well, that amount of cocaine, I'm sure she was.
So, here's the nominees. It's Karma, Winter, Beth Phoenix, and Natalia.
I think it's funny that it's the Sunny Days Award and winter's on there.
I guess that makes sense.
Well,
we
I
need
guess
a
there's
spring
sunny
and
days and winter.
fall. We need a spring and fall. So, if you will please.
Oh, we're not going to talk about them?
Oh my God. well, we're on the ball.
They're on the list because they got vaginas, and that's impressive to us. Well, let's see.
Karma's on there because she had an impact, but
Is that what she named her baby? An Impact?
I don't know. But Karma's on there because she didn't do much, but she made a good
Well,
impact.
she did. I mean, she made
was there for like a month, but
No,
that
but
shows you how powerful
in
her presence was.
physical terms, exactly. In physical terms, she wasn't there long, but presence, like the build up, all the videos they had
Mhm.
for her, that alone, just the fact that when she did make her debut was like wow, and the fact that I call her the female Vader.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how old she was supposed to be.
Winter,
You're a big fan of Winter,
oh
in more ways than one.
yeah. I think she's one of the best female wrestlers like around. I think she's like really underrated, but as far as like physical stuff that she can do in the ring, she's probably the best one in TNA.
I don't know about that. There's a couple. Mickey James is better than her.
Oh God.
But Winter's a better gimmick and character.
I don't think Winter's.
It has a look.
Face.
Mickey James is getting kind of
loose.
And then Beth Phoenix and Natalya is.
I'm not as big of a Beth Phoenix fan because, like, she's decent, but she does still have botches once in a while.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think that's who she works with.
The fact that it's the female wrestler of the year, and I still think she's Randy Orton in disguise.
But I love their.
Natalya was mine.
I love their gimmick together of them two, but
especially
Disney's done a terrible job at it. But I'm still glad to see that more than anything they've done with the Divas in years.
Which is a funny one because Beth Phoenix and Natalya, a couple weeks ago, I think it was, it never made air, but Caitlyn turned on AJ and went with them, and they've yet to have them together, so that's just pretty bad writing. But anyway, to think that, like, the Divas of Destruction, which is what they're calling them, kind of the Brothers of Destruction, if Karma does come back and joins up with them...
I don't think she'll join up. She might be like they think they're the Divas of Destruction, and she comes and just destroys everybody.
It'd be kind of cool to have, like, a faction of almost like a female four horsemen.
Well, she would definitely be the enforcer, and like...
And she'd also be the rest.
Well, if you please, Mick, would you please pull out...
Drum roll, please. Johnny Cash. Which one of us?
Huh? Go ahead. You can be the...
Isn't that what they do? And the winner is... Oh, Karma. No, Beth Phoenix.
Beth Phoenix.
Because she is Randy Orton.
She's the world champion right now. Well, the Divas champion, WWE Divas champion.
She's also
longest
Randy Orton.
I think she's had like second longest reign. I think this year.
Anyone that doesn't understand what I'm saying, if you can find a picture of Beth Phoenix besides Randy Orton, you might want to turn that back on. If you can find,
I'll get it.
Beth Phoenix standing beside Randy Orton, and you look, same face. She could be his sister. Our buddy Phil's a big fan of her.
I actually started to really like her.
You would.
Why? She's
no Mark Henry, though.
Oh, no. All right. I guess we'll go to your...
The next one...
is you go ahead.
We're waiting. Is he coming through? What? It's the shocking... Is that what it is? You can tell this is the first time. It's the shocking PN News
of the year.
Also, go to YouTube if you don't know who PN News was. Long before Eminem, WCW thought it'd be a brilliant idea to bring in a white rapper, but not just any white rapper, a big fat dude named PN News.
That really couldn't rap at all.
Or wrestle.
And the nominees are... You want to go ahead and say it?
Which way should it... start at the top? Yeah. Okay, so... Oh no. Macho Man Randy Savage's death, that was pretty shocking.
Tragic.
Edge's retiring, which was also very shocking. Jeff Hardy versus Sting at TNA Victory Road. And subsequent Hardy craziness, which I don't think was very shocking. Most people saw that coming. And CM Punk shoots on Raw, which was very shocking.
It was probably the biggest moment Raw had. Like bigger than The Rock, any of that stuff, obviously. Much bigger than any of that during the whole year. Even when The Rock was there for WrestleMania.
It was definitely the most talked about thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean... people were all over the internet.
Well, no one saw it coming, which is that's the idea of like the shocking moment of the year and the shocking idea. That was something that WWE hasn't had in a long time.
It even led to the discussions where people were like, was this a real shoot? Did they give him the time to do it? It went back and forth for a while.
There's a lot of and then I guess we'll go into Jeff Hardy and that odd, kind of weird squash match that he had against Sting, where Sting pretty much punched him, forcibly forced him. I mean, like, and then just literally dropped him on his head on that like Scorpion Death Drop.
Well,
pinned him while Hardy was trying to kick out legitly because Hardy was pilled out of his mind.
Yeah, that was the pay-per-view that he showed up on something. They didn't exactly know what. Rumors were that it was heroin.
Or pills. Like, he's gotten caught with pills.
But he was completely out of it. TNA didn't know what to do at the time. They didn't know whether to send him home.
They should. What the heck? I mean, I know that the thing is
they didn't know if they should send him home and do damage control or just let him go out there and do the match. And they ultimately decided to let him go out, which was a terrible idea.
And all they did, and all they pretty much wanted this thing is to win the match. That's it. Just win the match.
But then that also leads into the subsequent all of the weird Hardy stuff, not just Jeff.
No, well, I guess they kind of tie together a little bit with Jeff and Matt and all the craziness around that time period.
I think with the Jeff, like I think most people weren't shocked by that, but Matt was kind of the shocker because it was like.
Well, you mean like version 1 the shocker?
I didn't see the Matt thing coming, you know.
I don't know. He's already been a little. You remember a couple years ago he was gone on stage, out on in the woods or whatever after he got fired for the Edge Lita crap.
But that was different.
They're weird guys.
I mean, he's just never out of the two. Jeff's always seemed like the wild, crazy one, and Matt's
was
always
the more level-headed one,
the down to earth guy. And now it turns out they're both fucking knucking futz.
Much worse than what either one of us thought Jeff was like. You know, I mean, Jeff's had so many problems for years in and out of WWE. He had the WWE title, then all of a sudden it's gone, goes to TNA, goes back to WWE, you know, because he can't keep his damn shit straight, and supposedly he's clean now.
That's what they say every time.
I know. But, and then, that goes in, then sadly, I guess we're going to end this with two tragic things, one much worse than the other, but Edge's retirement.
Yeah, because had Edge not retired, it could have become a death situation, so...
Well, not just that, but, you know, now that you're seeing in hockey and you're seeing in football a lot of problems with concussions.
Yeah.
And you're finding out that these people that are in their 40s and 50s have all these concussion problems that are basically like crippling them. And Edge saw that if he didn't keep his neck, like, he could be that neck shape. Like concussions and neck injuries, those are like the two worst injuries.
Yeah, it was more, you know, not walking.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing.
The options were basically the same thing they've been telling Angle for years is either you're going to end up paralyzed or you're going to end up dead. That was the two options.
Unless you retire.
And neither of those are good options. But the concussions thing, there was that news article a couple years ago where there was this 4 hockey players. All of them died back-to-back, all at young ages, and I think it was like 3 of them were suicides.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
And they linked them to the concussions.
Well, there's been a lot of suicides they've been finding out about 1970s football players because back then the equipment wasn't as much. You got to think in wrestling, there's no equipment.
Yeah,
you're taking, you know... And it's not just for concussions, you're taking headshots, you're taking back bumps, you know, like...
Think about...
You got to think of the matches that Edge has been in. I think he re-injured his neck when he, I think it's he dove out of the ring and you see his head, like, jolt for a second. And it's like, you wouldn't think second of it, because it didn't look that bad, but he's already had so many damn neck problems. And now we're starting to get to a point in sports where we're realizing that all these injuries, we think that these surgeries are curing them. But we're finding out they're just kind of delaying. Yeah, they're prolonging, delaying. Well, they might fix a little bit, but it's not going to fix you perfectly.
But the doctors are even telling the guys that this is, you know, a temporary fix. And the thing is, they're like, okay, I can fix your neck so that you can have a couple more years, but eventually you're either going to have to retire or have a surgery that will make you retire.
Yeah, like you'll be just immobile. Yeah.
And those guys are leaving that part out. They're like, okay, well, I can have the surgery and I can come back to wrestling. They're not seeing it as eventually it's leading into more surgeries or retirement. Like,
luckily for Edge too, that he was able to wrestle during the Attitude Era where there was a lot more money being made, so he's able to retire more than like...
One, I'm sure that led into the retirement, and I thought it was pretty bad at the time, but then after he retired, it stuck out in my head, was the one... There was a match where it was him and Batista, and they both went for the spear at the same time, and they smashed heads.
Oh my God, that's when Batista's head just started gushing.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure that didn't help
dude.
Edge's neck.
All that, you got all those TLC matches. That match at One Night Stand, the second one, where it was him and Foley against Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer. You know, there was like that big, it was like a not barbed wire, but I think it was like. It was a hardcore match, but it was like there was a flaming table spot. There was a flaming table spot in the Foley Edge match.
There was Barbie, the flaming baseball bat.
Mm-hmm. And then that leads
they call it
into
a baseball bat, but it's a 2x4.
That leads into
the winner.
Sadly,
the Savage.
Savage's tragic heart attack at the wheel, which
could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, because it apparently was going into traffic, and his wife drove into a tree on purpose to get off the road.
Yeah, it could have went from, him having the heart attack and dying to him having the heart attack
and 4 people dying, or 5 people dying, or something like that.
Kind of like Benoit's death killed 3 other people. Savages easily could have killed 3 other people too.
I mean, it's crazy. At least Savage lived a lot longer life than a lot of his co-workers.
Not just that, but it's kind of sad, but he apparently knew he didn't have much time left.
Yeah, he called Hulk Hogan.
Started making amends with everybody, and, it was like he knew.
Hogan, I forget what I was watching, and he said he's the one that came out and said that Savage called him like 2 months before, and they just started to talk for the first time in a long, pretty much since WCW, and they were kind of cool with each other, and then all of a sudden this happens. They had no way of really kind of getting back together. Could you imagine if they were able to just get back together and be friends? How cool the photo ops would be, things like that.
It would have been awesome. But also, like we said, WWE dropped the ball big time because they had that feud with Savage for a long time. I mean, partially rightfully so with what some of the stuff Savage said, but there was, really, the guy was in, for his age, he was probably in the best physical shape of any of those guys at that age. Mm-hmm. He could have came back. He could have had one more run. He could have done anything.
Oh, he could have just been there.
Yeah, I mean,
he was in the Hall of Fame. He's never been inducted yet. He's gonna get inducted this year. Next year, 2012.
This year because it's.
Next year.
This year coming up. When you say this year, you mean coming up? It's in Florida, and he lived in Sarasota.
Well, there was talk that maybe he was gonna get it anyways. And now it's like, they put it off like it's a wrestling angle. Some of these guys they're putting in the Hall of Fame and stuff are getting orange. Stop, what the hell? Random things can happen.
No, they were going to put him in because of that whole thing where they made the action figure. They put the All-Star game.
Yeah, and he did a video to debut the action figure.
He's going to be in 2012. He'll be in the WWE 12 game.
Yep.
They had already had all
They put Punk in that Savage attire afterwards and stuff.
Well, they actually made 2 action figures too.
Together of them.
The 2-pack of So it's a little too late, but it's better now than never.
No, I agree. And
it's good that they were able to come to terms. Then you don't have the Owen Hart situation.
Yeah.
It's sad that we'll never have Owen in a game or.
In
Owen as an action figure, Owen in the Hall of Fame.
We'll never have no Owen.
I mean, I can understand the whole Benoit thing. That's fine, Yeah. What Benoit did to wipe out the legacy, you're not taking away from what he had already done. You're just not going to acknowledge anything.
You're not going to try to profit off of him.
Exactly. But the Owen thing is, I understand it was a tragedy, but his wife. Honestly, seems like she's about the money and not the fact that her fucking husband died. Because, why are you going to, deny the fans and people his legacy? You know what I mean? If I was married to, if I was a woman and I was married to a wrestler and he died, I would want the footage out there. I'd want everybody to see how good of a wrestler he was.
See what Savage
why be no, I don't want any of this stuff.
It'd be interesting to see what Savage's wife says about him being in all these games and that stuff now.
As far as I know, from what I've heard, she's been pretty cool with everything.
She seems to be.
She took some of
She seemed to be really good for him,
too.
They've only been married, a year?
Almost It would have been a little under 2.
Something like that, because I know they said about their anniversary was right around that time.
She, apparently Savage had, like, mentioned something to her about his robes.
Mm-hmm.
And he told her, like, he wanted to give robes to some of the friends and stuff, and she actually did that. She didn't hang on to them where she could make money, so... Apparently, you know, she
did right by him.
Wrestling wives out there can learn something from her.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's sad.
I guess we'll announce the winner now.
So the winner...
You want me to go ahead and open this one?
The winner will be determined by a random vote of us two.
Random. It's so random, right? I mean, I think for shocking, it has to be Randy Savage's.
For the shock, it has to be the shock master.
Sad, you know,
for anyone,
his tragic death.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just nothing else we can really say about it. I mean, it's not that the shocking has to be good. It's something shocking happens in the wrestling world.
And it was you know, real. The Edge thing. I guess
the Edge thing's real. He's not came back since. He's on SmackDown.
I guess all of them to a degree were real.
Kinda, yeah.
But
this was just, you know, this resonated outside of the wrestling world. Lots of people remember the Slim Jim commercials as a kid.
Oh my god,
and things like that.
When it happened,
oh yeah, everybody. It was big news. It was on all the news stations.
I couldn't believe it was big of a news because you know, we saw him as just a wrestler, whereas apparently the rest of the world saw him as
an entertainer. That's what he was. Oh yeah, you know, the snap it to a Slim Jim. I mean, like, that's a big thing.
Which is funny because.
And they knew that he was a wrestler. His crazy look, that look we'll never see again, you know?
What's funny is he was the spokesperson for Slim Jim. So when they decided to bring Slim Jim back and have a WWE spokesperson, they gave it to Edge.
You're right. They did. And he was up on these mountain courses. Remember that guy was like traveling up the mountain?
Well, another thing I thought was weird was Miss Elizabeth died.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess it was like the following year, Sherry died.
It might have been a year or two afterwards.
And then Savage, a couple years later, dies. So Gorgeous George and Molly Holly, beware.
All right, and then we're gonna go to, and it's gonna be the Katie Vick Award to the hottest cheerleader ever. That I think we both would agree that we want to screw her brains out. That is for the worst angle, gimmick, something, the worst crappy thing that happened this year in wrestling. And I will go ahead and read the results since your eyes probably can't read them that far away without having to stare at the thing the whole time. Jeff and Karen Jarrett versus Kurt Angle in the custody battles and just the outright stupidness of these dumb, and it's kind of real in some way too, since Karen was obviously his, her
stripper bride.
Yeah, stripper bride that likes it in the butt apparently, from what he said on Howard Stern, and then this is a long one. This is almost like a long-winded. It's
Vince.
Vince's firing leads to Triple H becoming CEO and Raw GM, which then somehow leads into John Laurinaitis becoming the GM because of Triple H's idiocy, supposedly. And then Triple H feuding with Nash because that was part of the reason why he could not become a good GM.
CM Punk
and then CM Punk getting screwed in it because of they threw Triple H into the storyline and so on and so forth. Sin Cara versus Sin Cara, we can't go, I think, an awards night, a look back at a year of 2011 without looking at Sin Cara in some form or another.
2011, not only did Sin Cara debut, but
someone else never debuted. That's the fourth one. Brodus Clay. Where the hell's he been?
But also you have Sin Cara.
That's the fourth one.
You have Sin Cara debut, and within what was it, not even 2 months, there's another Sin Cara. And then the other Sin Cara comes back, and 2011 will not only be the debut of Sin Cara, but the debut of 2 Sin Caras.
Yeah. And the debut of Sin Cara only lasted for 2 months.
Yeah.
And Sin Cara Negro.
And now there's no Sin Cara at all, so...
Not on TV.
What's better than 1 Sin Cara? No Sin Cara!
No Sin Cara.
Well, if you're WWE, you're like, hey, what's better than one of them?
All these are dumb in different ways. It's funny. Karen Jarrett and the Angle feud are like one of those those feuds that just shouldn't happen. Like it's one of those like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero fighting over Rey's kids. That's the same.
Which was like Eddie Guerrero's last storyline.
Yeah, and that's like that's bad writing. And then here's like forgetful writing and bad build up when you have all these re-debut videos for Brodus Clay and you just kind of forget to air them, and then you randomly have John Laurinaitis and Mrs. Or Mr. Jennifer Hudson talk about him.
Yes. Well,
why?
It's
why
also like I
point?
talked about, like in one of the early episodes. They did the same thing with Johnny Curtis, who they did all these vignettes with Johnny Curtis doing all these stereotypes, dumping milk on himself and all this stuff, and they kept building it up and be like, he's going to debut next week, and then the next week they're like, he's going to debut next week, and then the next week, and it just kept going on and on, and finally when he did debut, nobody gave a crap.
Yeah, because you took too long. And it's just like, you got tired of it. You ruined, and then, obviously, Sin Cara wasn't necessarily the writer's fault as much as it was Sin Cara's fault.
Well...
It was a lot... Okay,
it's kind of
didn't botch all those moves,
well, yeah, it's kind
and then
of
get caught with the roids...
It's kind of the person that was like, hey, this guy's great, we should bring him in, like...
Well, Triple H.
No, Triple H took him in under...
He's the one that even signed him. He wanted to start bringing in foreign talent. The idea is a good idea.
Yeah.
But
just because they do twice the work for half the pay.
But the problem is just because they're good in one league doesn't necessarily mean
just because the guy can build a house doesn't mean.
But it doesn't mean. But you know, like look at like Japanese baseball and American baseball. Japanese baseball players come over all the time, but they're not as good as they were in Japan for the most part. Outside like Ichiro.
Well, you also
it happens. It just WWE works a different style than Mexican wrestling, which is all about I'm gonna do a little move and you're gonna roll to the outside and then here comes 17 planches like an airstrike.
Japanese baseball is more of a team thing, where even though you're a single player,
you work as a team.
There's a whole
baseball.
team.
There's a lot more individualism in it.
So it's kind of hard to take
wrestling. It's kind of
hard to take like one guy off of a team and bring him here and expect him to be a shining player.
Well, Mexican wrestling and Japanese or American wrestling's like that. Mexican wrestling, you got traditional 3-on-3 or 2-on-2.
To take a guy that might be great working with other guys that at least can make him look good.
Yeah. That's why they kept making him work with Chavo Guerrero for the first month.
Who's apparently going to TNA now. But the other thing is, like, in Japanese baseball, those guys play in the middle of a monsoon. Whereas here, if there's, like, one drop of rain, they pull the tarps out and the guys sit in the dugouts. So that's a whole other thing. Because you got to think about, like...
Why are we talking about Japanese baseball?
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, with wrestling, you got to think that, like, if you're, like... I think one of the worst things that can happen is if you're a wrestler, is if you have to wrestle multiple times in the night and there's breaks. Because you got to think about if you're wrestling one match, you're going out there, you're not tired, you're not winded, and like after you get out there a while, you get the momentum going and like the energy and everything. Then after the match, like you're cooling down.
And then
the only thing you want to do is just like crash out, and all of a sudden, bam! I got to go out there and I got to do this again. Let alone like. In Japan, like, they do that, like, 4 or 5 times in one night.
Well, in Japan,
it's a tournament.
And I think Mexico's a lot of the same way. They go on tours,
well,
then they stop wrestling for a while.
Yeah, they do
They go 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, and I think Mexico works.
But Mexico also has those huge tournaments, too.
Yeah, but they have terrible... It's not... The problem with WWE is they have terrible schedules. Like, you might wrestle... Sure, you might wrestle almost every night of the week for a while, but you got a lot of breaks. You wrestle 24/7. Like, you wrestle every day.
It's even like we looked at their, like, schedule, and, like, they were at, like... Say they were in Pittsburgh one week, and then the next week, they're out in California. And then the next week, they're, like, back. It's like, why wouldn't you just do all your shows on the East Coast?
Well, they went to Japan for 2 shows, then they fly all the way back.
Who the hell is their travel agent that's like trying to get them all free?
Who the hell was the booking guy too? Like the guy that like booked the schedule like a year ago, in advance, and they're booking like, okay, we're gonna go here and there. Like
it only makes sense.
You got to think about the wrestlers on that. Like a lot of them are cramped cars, shitty hotels compared to what they need to be because they're big guys.
If you look at tours, like music tours, like Kiss will play all of the East Coast, and then they'll work their way to the West Coast. And then they do their foreign shows. It's not like, well, we're going to do one show here, then we're going to go all the way back across.
I don't think that Sin Cara... I think that Sin Cara can adapt to the WWE style, but it took Rey Mysterio a while. You know, they're thinking he's the next Rey Mysterio, but Rey Mysterio took a little while too.
I think
He also got the work other
I think Rey
independent
Mysterio is the next Rey Mysterio.
the Rey Mysterio. Well,
so anyway,
we gotta go to the winner. We should probably say the winner.
Yeah, we should probably say the winner. You want to read off again so that people remember?
I guess to go off topic, the Vince firing Triple H crap, the Jeff and Karen Jarrett versus Kurt Angle, the Brodus Clay's lack of debut, and two Sin Cars debuting and feuding with each other.
And the winner is the Vince long ass
COO storyline, GM storyline, whatever the hell you want to call it. Anything that involves John Laurinaitis, Triple H, Nash, Vince McMahon in one storyline is going to be a train wreck. And CM Punk. I mean, it involves him too.
I think any storyline that involves
John
Laurinaitis is probably going to be a train wreck.
Well, that's very true.
Alright, so the next category...
We'll go to the big three. This is the big three.
The big three?
Yeah.
The big three?
Like it used to be back in wrestling.
So, this is Beef of the Year. Also
Where's the
known
beef?
as Feud of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And our nominees are CM Punk versus John Cena, Bobby Roode versus James Storm.
Well, one of the few TNA time references that's good.
How bad my eyes are.
You want me to start reading?
R-Truth versus
Lil Jimmy. Lil Jimmy went. I love that.
And Del Rio versus Edge.
Well, the Del Rio versus Edge, that was Edge's last feud. He wrestled him at WrestleMania and then retired.
It was his destiny.
You know, I wonder why they never played up Del Rio taking his career.
They did a little bit. That's what that Christian...
Yeah, that's true.
Christian storyline.
R-Truth, Lil Jimmy was brilliant. Like him dressing as the Civil War.
Oh, that was my favorite.
And he's coming down, like, he's singing and he's dancing, but he's in the Civil War, like the South uniform, the Confederate uniform. It was great.
Even the night the kid threw the drink on him.
Yeah, yeah. And my thing... And, well, he also conned Miz in a lot of ways to follow into the conspiracy.
My thing is...
Where's the Lil Jimmy... Where's the R-Truth shirts, you know?
My thing is, and I brought this up...
Good heel crazy.
I brought this up to my roommate last night when we were watching Raw. I can understand, like, Hacksaw Jim Duggan bringing a 2x4 out to the ring and hitting people with it. Mm-hmm. I can understand Triple H bringing a sledgehammer out to the ring and hitting people. Those are pretty impressive weapons. Even Regal bringing the brass knuckles in his trunks and pulling them out and hitting people. What the fuck is the deal with the water bottle? And he opens it first. It'd be one thing if it was a full water bottle with the cap on and you're hitting somebody, that might sting a bit. But the fact that you take the cap off, it's immediately going to dent, the water's going to fly everywhere. How the hell does that hurt?
Rude Storm was pretty much one of the few things that TNA almost fucked up, but somehow got right in some ways.
Yeah. Well,
they went a little too fast, but
it was before the WWE decided, hey, we're going to take these young guys, we're going to put the belts on. Like they did it with Punk, but Punk had been champion before.
Right.
But this was TNA's first, like, hey, not only are we going to take one young guy,
wasn't AJ Styles.
We're going to take two young guys and put belts on them. Yep. And then WB follows suit with, I'm not saying that they ripped it off. I mean, they might have the plan.
There's CM Punk Cena, which was the summer Punk, as it's been coined. Well, with Punk winning the title, leaving the league.
With the belt, going on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Went to some like Cubs games with the belt.
Comic-Con.
Went on vacation with the belt.
And then had a unification match with Cena when he came back. Yes. Even though it should have been a lot longer. He should be coming back now.
Which, apparently, there's talks that the beginning of this year, sometime at the beginning of the year, whether they're going to do it with Punk or... one of the rumors now is that his ratings are pretty bad for segments. Yeah. That they're talking about taking the belt off of him.
Ziggler might win this week. As much as I like Ziggler, I still don't want to have it yet.
They actually were talking about a lot of the wrestlers don't like the belt, and a lot of the fans.
A lot of everyone.
Don't like the belt.
Dumb.
They want to go with a more traditional belt.
I don't think they're going to. They're not going to. Not for a while.
I don't know. One of the complaints was that the belt doesn't even say champion. It just says
that's what CM Punk said in an article on WWE.com.
It's true though.
Well, yeah, of course it's true.
Plus, I thought it was funny because when they switched the belts and it was on SmackDown, the belt still says Monday Night.
Where does it say Monday Night?
On the side.
Does it really? On the side plates?
Mm-hmm. It says Monday Night.
So, I mean, everyone's talked about the Punk Cena feud. Not like we have to go into more detail about that. Who's gonna win?
Punk Cena feud.
What was the biggest beef
Let's find out.
of the year?
I have the biggest beef of the year. If you want to see it, you're gonna have to pay
Apparently
a
it
lot of
shrinks
money.
next year and you won't get the biggest beef.
It does, man. The older you get.
It's Punk Cena.
Woo!
We need that.
And like we said before, any of the people that win, if they want to accept the reward, if they want to accept the
reward, because it's a bounty.
come on and we'll film it. And if
Please.
Cena comes to collect the award,
Oh, dude, I'll take it. I'll take John Cena.
You can give it to him.
That's fine. I'll give it, dude.
I call Punk. You can have Cena.
Well, that's fine.
I like his cereal, and that's about it.
Fruit Pebbles. And now we'll go to the irresistible force versus the immovable object. Who wins when it's the thing that can't be moved against the thing that can't be
hurt.
stopped?
Or hurt.
Oh, it's stopped. Force move object. That is the biggest, best match of the year. Some interesting ones.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to do your research.
Yeah,
A lot of YouTubing on this one.
Yeah. The first one's obviously John Cena and CM Punk, the Money in the Bank, when Punk won the match, took
For
the
the
title and
first
left.
time.
When he left, quit. Or not quit, he just never signed a new contract.
Yes.
Uh,
Now, wasn't that the night that Alberto Del Rio tried to cash in the Money in the Bank and he went through the crowd?
I think so. I think it might have been. I can't remember.
Think
Well,
that
that's
was-
the night he won it, wasn't? Didn't he win the
Yeah,
Money
he
Bank?
won
there?
it, and then Del Rio tried to cash in because I think it was Vince. Because this was before Vince.
He wanted him to hurry up and get it to try to so Punk couldn't take the title away.
Because that's when I think he hit Laurinaitis and then he took off through the crowd.
Yep. Because he had Laurinaitis come down. That's when he debuted kind of too as a character to try to do the Montreal Screwjob kind of thing,
Yes.
like ring the bell. And Cena even jumped out, was like,
Cena's the one
stupid.
that hit him, and then
And so we'll go to Edge Del Rio WrestleMania. Edge's final match. It was a good match. It was interesting.
I don't think anybody
Edge is
knew
very
at the time.
emotional though. Now looking back, when you watch that, there was something going on. He knew it. He probably knew it. No one else knew it. Pretty interesting to think he kept that from everybody. Like
well, I'm
the
sure
general public.
Sure, he had a feeling.
Now-
one of those. If I wake up tomorrow and I feel okay, I'm not going to retire. But if I wake up and I feel like crap, I'm
Now,
retire.
back in January, New Japan and the CMLL Mexican Wrestling Federation League had an interpromotional get-together. And
with an interesting name.
Yeah, oh yeah. Fantastica Mania? Okay. And the match is a tag match. It was Prince Devitt and Ryusuke Takuchi, Takuchi, I think is how you pronounce it, versus Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, who's actually one of my favorite light heavyweight, cruiserweight wrestlers.
Kenny Omega's one of mine.
And Kenny Omega's, well, it's great they're on the same team too. So that was a great match.
But the name is funny because Japan's known for taking two words and throwing them together, but Mexico's kind of the same way. They'll just take two random words.
They
and
do have some weird ones.
So it works.
And that was a great match. It's a fun, high-flying tag match. Just energetic. Those guys are really energetic. Especially, they kind of was like a Dragon Gate match but wasn't have anything to do with Dragon Gate,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. And then you have Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Satoshi Kojima for the New Japan IWGP title
Amazing
at
match.
Wrestle Kingdom 5, the traditional January 4th Tokyo Dome show
At one point,
that New Japan has had forever.
Tanahashi goes for his finishing move is a frog splash. He goes for it, and who was he in the match?
Kojima.
Satoshi
Kojima.
Kojima stands up, and he still does the frog splash.
It's like
It
a
was
standing-
awesome.
Yeah, it was. The crowd was crazy. The ref took a goofy bump. I happened to notice. He goes, it was Kojima hit a move, and I think it was a lariat, and then he goes 1, 2, and then he was so shocked that he couldn't go for the 3. He did a 360 spin and did a back bump, on his. I was like, what the hell's going on? The ref was crazy. The crowd was intense. The wrestlers were way into it. Satoshi Kojima even did the Koji cutter off the top rope. The guys traded moves back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget about Tanahashi, like, jumping on his head on the outside.
Oh my God! Kojima did a crazy ass lariat, like while he was on the over the ropes, and when he did, like Tanahashi like jumped and then like turned and like went flat on the side of his face, like just like a face bump, I guess is what you call it. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
It was crazy.
It was cool, but
and he's a really young guy too. I mean, like he's got to be probably age-wise one of the youngest.
He's in his 30s.
I thought he was
late early. I think he's early 30s. He might be late 20s. Yeah, but he's been around for a while. That's why. You know, New Japan Dojo kind of guys. We've been there forever.
So who are we going to give it to?
Who?
Tune in next week. No. So it goes to Punk versus Cena.
Hey, now we can say that John Cena's won one of our awards.
You can say that.
I knew you'd love that.
Maybe I'll win one of his someday.
Yeah, sure.
Fruity Pebbles. I want my free shit.
I want my Fruity Pebbles award.
Why? You know what's funny is like Fruity Pebbles. It changes the milk color, but it doesn't change your poop color. I find it very interesting.
Wouldn't it change your pee color? Wouldn't that be more accurate?
It does change my pee.
To yellow.
No, to like this bright, like neon orange. Isn't it supposed to be that color?
No, I don't think.
Oh shit! It's supposed to burn too when you go, right? That means you're getting all the toxins out. Oh shit!
And I think it's it's a little time for some styling and some profiling.
Woo!
And then, you know, a wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing here. We gotta get into the mood.
What was it? Car flying.
Oh, it was limousine flying.
Limousine flying.
Flair limousine fly.
Stay up.
Flair can do it.
Stay up all night. Stay a little longer.
And since Flair's the only man that can fly
Who wants to take a
limousine,
ride on Space Mountain?
the Wrestler of the Year award is called the Flair Award.
Woo!
You know? I mean, it just makes perfect sense.
Woo!
Woo!
And if you win, your trophy is a Ric Flair chop.
Woo! And then maybe a Flair flop in the corner coming out and he steps out there.
The top rope, like, and then.
No, that's not the Flair flop. The Flair flop is when he got chopped.
Yeah,
just
but
stand in the corner and
then,
just fall on his face.
then he later started doing the. They'd throw him, he'd flip.
Oh yeah, that's not the Flair flop.
And then
that's
he'd
not a
flop
Flair
on his
flop.
face.
That's not the Flair flop though. The Flair flop's not
But
when
he
he started
added the
turnbuckle.
two, and then there was always.
Well,
the,
yeah, he's got to ad lib.
There's always the begging for mercy, and then you low blow the
Or
guy.
you poke him or something.
Yeah.
So the nominees
Greatest player game.
are
CM Punk, Lance Storm. Oh, James Storm.
James Storm. I don't think Lance Storm's wrestled this year.
A guy we just talked about.
Hiroshi Tanahashi.
And The Miz.
The Miz probably had outside of Punk, probably had the most successful WWE run this year. Because who would have thought?
And how did
Who would
that?
have thought the real
How did that
guy
go?
would be like champion and be headlining WrestleMania?
He did.
And fighting The Rock already. You know, like
That little girl's face, like.
yeah. There's a lot of. Well, that was last year.
But still, I mean, when you say The Miz from now on, The Miz should have fucking put her on a T-shirt. That would have been great.
I think they'd have some licensing problems there.
Why?
Because you can't just. I don't know. I don't think they couldn't make money unless she was allowed them to do it, and then she could make money on it.
Kidnap her dad.
I would have did it if I was that kid or the dad trying to get.
I
Some
would have
money
did it for ice cream bars. You want to put this ugly mug on merchandise if you think it'll sell?
We're gonna make a T-shirt. It's gonna have your face on it. Then
It's gonna have my balls.
your bastard.
I'll put my balls on every shirt.
You stamp them. It's
Yeah.
like a seal of approval.
It's like when when you sleep and I dip them down in
Yeah, it almost-
dye, and then stick them in your mouth.
Yeah.
Easter egg. Anyway, so who's gonna win?
Who deserves it?
Well, let's find out. And the winner is, we'll do this one together. And the winner is CM Punk.
God, I hate when they do those award shows.
Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster Punk.
Cookie Monster Punk.
It's not surprising that Punk really cleans up these awards because we're big marks at heart, apparently. Even though I've complained about him, I guess he's still the best thing that's happened in wrestling
He's
this
the
year.
best in the world. At least until next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, any predictions for 2012? Wrestling predictions.
The end of the world, as we know it,
In wrestling?
the end begins.
WWE goes. Does WWE Network actually come out? 2012.
Yeah, I think it'll come out. As far as will it succeed, I hope it does.
Well, what do you think? You got to pick. Do you think let's just make some predictions real quick. Do you think it's going to succeed?
I think if out of everything that from like Vince's past, like the XFL, what was the bodybuilding league? The new ECW, all the things. All the things that, he tried to do that's failed, he's bound to have something that's going to work. And I think he's put so much into this so that it doesn't fail, that this could be like WrestleMania. The first WrestleMania...
But it could be the opposite. It could be...
But that's the thing. It's the first WrestleMania.
Bizarre WrestleMania.
If you watch the history of WrestleMania...
It's a really good... Is that that's called True Story WrestleMania?
Whatever. But if you watch that, he put pretty much all of his money on this idea.
Oh, yeah.
If WrestleMania did not succeed, the WWE would be not here anymore.
Oh, yeah.
That could be the whole situation again, where he's put so much into this network, because it's a network. You're talking about
a little channel.
Millions. I watched the thing, and they said that they said that net worth for WWE they think is around $600 million.
Yeah.
So you think about how much of that $600 million went into your own network. You're talking at least $20-30 million to do a network.
Oh, it's gotta be more than that. It's gotta be a lot higher than that because there's gonna be a lot of fees and stuff.
Yeah.
Involved.
So
I kind of wonder if they're gonna run commercials. And, is it gonna be like a normal channel, or is it gonna be just like commercial channel, like Disney Channel doesn't show commercials, or Showtime, or those kind of things.
I don't know.
Because it's gonna be a premium channel. It's not gonna be on a normal TV. You're gonna have to buy a sports package. That's where it could fail. That's where it could fail because you are just gonna be able to just buy I'm getting expanded basic cable and I get the WB network. It's not gonna be
because that's how I wanted it, but
it can't be. They always work in packages.
You got
channels work in
packages. You got to think that,
and it's also not affiliated with Speed is owned by Fox, so they could get on all the Fox,
well, if they did
something obscure Versus is now part of the NBC Sports.
If they
network,
did it,
they're calling it that.
If UFC decided instead of doing the whole deal with Fox, there'd be an MMA channel because there already is one on
There's
Xbox.
One in Britain. There's one in Britain.
Well, the Xbox
Canada, it's the Fight Network.
There's a whole UFC.
There's a UFC channel.
So if it was something like that, where you're taking UFC and you're taking wrestling, which is kind of
there's the Fight Network.
They're similar enough.
Which is in Britain.
Boxing. You put all that together, but to put football fans are going to get the WWE Network. How many football fans are really going to care?
Well, it's not just that. It's that they know that the NFL Networks are taking off, and it's a similar demographic compared to if you were to put it with the Discovery channels, all those weird ones. If you have to put on a package, you're gonna put one that's the closest to you. Yeah. Sports, even though the funny thing is WWE tries not to be sports, is the closest one. I've heard people talk about this. That they could show the old XFL games. They could show the old WBF stuff. It's a perfect. They never do anything with those. It's a perfect time to throw them on at 3 o'clock in the night. People are going to tape them. Look at people watching the old shit on ESPN Classic. Was it AWA? It's on ESPN Classic now?
The crazy thing that sucks is DirecTV, which is who they apparently sent the whole thing out talking about
survey.
The package deal. Mm-hmm. They already have on demand.
Well, they
so
did.
There's no reason they couldn't just turn the on demand.
They can't. It's a separate channel. On demand, it's like a pay-per-view.
I know. I understand that, but there was a subscription thing where you could get a subscription and you got.
But that's not how channels work. I know it's a different system, and it's convoluted and retarded in how they do it.
It's something they should have thought out.
I think they should have kept it hush hush and worked on it for a couple of years. Making a channel, it's not all this extra footage.
But it's also when you get the channel, from what they've said, you only get the 4 big pay-per-views.
No, it's the opposite. You're going to get everything, pretty much. You're going to get all the
except for the big 4.
Except for the big 4.
Okay.
You're going to get your Money in the Bank.
That's kind of
TLC,
cool.
And then the big 4 are going to be normal pay-per-views.
But you got to think
they might also put all of them except for WrestleMania. There's that.
But you got to think if you're a fan of Weeds, okay, and you get Showtime because you want to watch Weeds. Well, that's the only place you can see it unless you're watching it in syndication. But you're dealing with Raw's still on USA.
Yeah.
SmackDown's still on Sci-Fi. Why am I going to pay all this extra money to get shit that I already have for free?
I think.
Plus, like,
I think the channel is just going to cater to really diehard wrestling fans, and that's where it could falter. Because
but the problem,
do you think the average guy that just sits and watches Raw every Monday is going to buy WWE Network? Hell no, they're still going to watch Raw, like you said. It's on USA. It's going to.
Well, it's even that. Like right now, I don't have cable, and I've been watching the feeds online. There's people that do that. If you want to watch Raw, and you don't have cable, you don't have the WWE Network, you're going to go online.
I know.
You're still going to watch it.
Like that Legends House. People are probably getting torn the hell out of that thing. I've thought about that.
I mean, there's no way that, I mean, they've been cracking down a lot, but there's no way you can actually really stop it.
Yeah. But the thing is like...
There's even channels that if you don't want to watch Raw while it's on, if you're going to go watch football and then you want to watch Raw after football...
Just download it afterwards, or replay it.
There's websites that actually put the whole thing up afterwards, and you can just sit and stream
But
it.
I mean, like, I think it's going to come out, but it probably won't be till, like, late next year, like November, December. And
I think it's
maybe,
earlier than that from what they've already been talking.
I think it's going to get pushed back.
But it doesn't
they keep saying 2012. I think it's going to be November, October.
It doesn't even seem like they haven't really announced
it's only a year from now.
You're talking a whole network where 24 hours a day.
Well, they're trying to keep it hush-hush so that they can leak out. Remember they had they've been putting out all the surveys like,
I know,
what about a Diva show and this show?
What I'm saying is, like, CW, when the CW was coming out, they already announced like 4 or 5 TV shows they were going to have on it.
Mm-hmm.
Networks do that. It's like, we're going to have this new network, and we're going to have, like, these shows that people want to see, plus a bunch of other stuff on there. They haven't even announced enough. I mean, we know Raw's on there. We know SmackDown's
well,
on
actually,
there.
I don't know if they're on
NXT,
there. I don't think they're airing them live.
Enough.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can, because why would USA want to be on their competitor channel? I don't think they can. The NFL Network can't show Monday Night Football live. So see, there's some weird problems with it. That's the problem.
Is even the point.
Because then that way, after Raw ends, you can. You know that about 6 months ago, they talked about doing a pregame show for Raw.
But you know where that's.
They want to now put that on the WB network, and then they want to put the after game show, and then we'll do it for SmackDown. Maybe.
I don't care about those.
And then they want to do.
But
and
you
then
know what? This
they
is
can
really
do
gonna...
all the like. They have they can start running all the Nitros, all the old Raws. They even showed on that classic programming thing on that W Network promo. They showed like AWA and NWA, WCCW, WCW. They got a wealth of back things, and that's not included. They want to show WBF. All the old DVDs.
Well,
they started this week. They put a whole bunch of their DVDs on Netflix. Even more, they can now show them on there. Just show Born to Controversy, the Roddy Piper story on there. Show the Hogan when they just show the Heartbreaking.
One of the things they can do is when you watch those on Netflix, you're only getting
no, not anymore. All the new ones, it's everything.
So I was going to say they can show on the actual network. Be like, well, if you watch them on here, you only get the story, but if you watch them on here, you get the matches.
If they're gonna, they have to go all in on for that channel.
But here's the thing, like, this seems like really bad because of the fact that this network is going to lead towards a lot of bootlegging.
I know.
People that get this network, what's going to keep them from, like... Look, one thing that would be cool is if the
I want to watch the Legends House, but I'm not buying a special package that's going to cost me an extra $100 a month just to watch that show.
Actually, when we talked, the DirecTV, it was a lot more than that. But anyway...
Well, it depends on how they haven't officially, package
they don't know, but it...
You got to think it's probably about $100. It might be $100 for that package alone.
But, the cool thing would be is if they didn't have commercials, and you could watch Raw at the same time as Raw, with no commercials, and you get to see the in-between stuff, like...
Yeah, they used to do it online, remember? They used to feed the commercial stuff on the website.
Yeah, but I don't want to see the kiss cam. I want to see what's going on.
No, when there was a match, they'd do a spot to the outside to cut the commercial, you could still watch the rest of the match without commentary.
Yeah, see, that
on the website, and then it would fade black, and then fade in.
I still want the commentary, but...
There's a lot to work out. That's why I don't think it can't come out till this time next year, roughly, because... There's a lot they haven't talked about, a lot they haven't...
One way they could really get people to like, try and get the network is if they cut a deal with... Say they cut a deal with USA, and they're able to show Raw on their network at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
When it's a 3-hour Raw, USA still only shows 2 hours. So if you want to see the first hour, you got to have the network. USA
that's
has the cutoff time, so that if it runs over, if you really want to see it, you got to go to the WWE network.
I can see them doing that. The thing is that's a way to draw out fans.
But that would be the only way that you're getting people to...
Like, honestly, little kids has always been a big demographic for wrestling, and teens. They don't have the money to do that, and like it's a dumb idea.
Yeah, but little kids are dumb. You could just put in a DVD of
no, it's
Raw
not that.
when you were a kid, and
if you hook
they're not going to know.
Fans in when they're young, they stay into it a lot. Odds are they stay into it a lot more. No 20-year-old gets into wrestling and then watches it the rest of their life. Most people watch it when they're kids. You know, you watch it when you were a kid. I watched it when I was a kid. All my friends that I know that watch wrestling watch it when they were a kid. And there's certain ways you got to do things. I don't know. I don't. Is it going to be popular for a month or two? Afterwards, it might just fade to obscurity and be like chiller and just be for like one of those, like a certain specific crowd, and that's it. It's not as popular as the NFL.
Actually,
it's not as popular as like MLB as a network. It's not that big. It's not
what's funny is
network.
Chiller's not even a pay channel anymore. It's one that they throw in.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you're getting the HBO package? Here's Chiller.
Not many people watch it because of what it's about. And that's what
I like it though.
Okay, but yeah, that's because we're fans of that shit. But the thing is wrestling.
Anybody out there making a horror movie and they want 2 assholes to make it look really bad? That's us.
We can
contact us. Yeah. We can play one character. We'll wear a big outfit. And we'll be a 2-headed like.
But no, I mean, let's go on. What about? Do you have any ideas for like weird world champions that could happen next year? If you were to pick some randomly obscure WB or TNA wrestler to be a champion, that hasn't had the championship before.
Yoshitatsu.
No, like seriously though.
I'd like to see Yoshitatsu.
You know, there's a lot of people
Tyler Black would be great.
No, who? Who do you think has a legit chance?
Claudio Castagnoli actually has started doing stuff?
Yeah.
That would be good.
They won't be champion by next year.
Well, you heard about the Chris Hero thing.
Yeah, he got...
they took his contract.
But he's got another test in January.
If he passes that...
He'll be most likely on. But...
if that works out, they could be tag team champions.
I could see... No, I'm talking world champion. Tag champions, those things get thrown around so much.
Yeah, but we should focus more on tag team next year. Like, WWE, focus on tag team. Maybe... If you spent, the way you did this video, if it is Jericho, which it looks like it is Jericho, why not do one for a fucking tag team and bring in awesome tag teams? What happened to
Make up a tag team, it doesn't matter.
God, you had the Hart Foundation, you had the Rockers, you had Demolition, you had LOD, you had like all these fucking awesome tag teams. And it's a good way for people to start. And now, what do you have? What tag team do you have?
Air Boom, I guess that's it. Well, the Usos. I'm
Air Boom started out as just, hey, let's take this guy that likes to smoke dope and this guy that likes to smoke dope, and we'll put them together.
Or synthetic dope.
Because they were like Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston for months, and then it's like we need a name for them.
But
when was the last time there was an actual tag team?
I'm kind of digging the Usos and doing the Samoan thing, like dance kind of thing up with the.
You mean Samoa Joe's entrance, like when he first got the TNA?
But like
that's pretty much
still. That's fine. It's cool, but
you need more.
Do you think they're gonna? Okay, give me some weird predictions. Think of some weird things that you think could happen. Not what you want, what you think will happen. There's a big difference in that.
I predict that TNA will be out of business next year.
Really? Really?
If they don't do something,
I believe TNA will be around for the next 10 years. They have enough money, I think, in the way that their rating doesn't really go up or down. It's kind of this weird, like, stagnant point that they'll just be around.
Well, a prediction could be...
They're a glorified indie league anyways.
If the WWE Network is a huge bust...
Oh my god, there's opportunity there for them to skyrocket.
Well, not just that, you got to think of how much
money... Because they might have to scale the production down. WB.
Well, they already talked about because of money, and I guess because...
They've already stopped using pyro a lot.
Yeah, they've cut down on that, I guess because they're trying to conserve money with the network and
no, not just that, the economy.
Yeah.
Look at the SmackDown. If I'm going to make a weird prediction, I am going to predict that they're going to officially get rid of the roster split. This is an extreme one. They're going to get rid of the roster. No, I mean officially, like there is no difference.
They've already talked about that.
They've talked about it for years. These are such hearsay.
Yeah, but they've actually started putting that into motion.
No, kind of, but they're going to get rid of it, and they're going to get rid of SmackDown.
Nah, they won't get rid of SmackDown.
3 hours every night.
Now that they have another
3 hours
network?
every week. 3 hours every week.
Yeah, but now that they have another
They
network...
they make some Superstars 2 hours. They don't even air it on TV. Anyways.
Why? When no one watches an hour of it.
Because you can make that your second show, but it's not a roster split. It's your number 2, it's your B2, it's your Thunberg.
Nah, get rid of Superstars, keep SmackDown.
No, get rid of SmackDown.
SmackDown, what they should
And they
do...
need to merge the championships.
What they should
Championships need to be
do...
merged.
What they should do is they should keep SmackDown, but move everybody off of SmackDown onto Raw, and have SmackDown be like a Florida Championship Wrestling type show.
Well, that's
They
what
take,
NXT
like-
is, though.
Nah, sort of, but it's them trying
Why do they have
out.
all these separate tiers? It's like minor league baseball.
Well, I was
system.
wondering if
single
if
A
Florida
is your
Championship
FCW,
Wrestling-
then double A is NXT, and triple A is SmackDown, and then the major leagues is Raw. It's literally in that tier.
I was wondering if the network,
They already talked about showing FCW,
That's cool.
and
See, that's
apparently they're filming in this different set in January, and it's something they went to, and it's a bigger set, and they think they're going to tape it for W Network. That this has already been in the plans. That's a show they're going to show. But the thing is like, who gives a shit? I'm not going to watch it.
I do. Like if
I can go download it now if I wanted to watch it. I don't give a shit. My point is,
You're an
I
asshole.
think I think
you didn't even watch original ECW.
Impact-
You said that there's no difference between the ECWs.
no, they're all the same ECW. There's a difference.
Did somebody that never watched the original ECW?
No, that's one ECW. There's not such thing as ECW and ECW WWE version.
Yes, there is.
It's one ECW. Doesn't matter who owns it.
No.
Todd Gordon, then Heyman, then Vince McMahon.
If you're going with that
There's
theory,
really is.
ECW is still around because
No, it's
Todd.
not.
Yes, it is. Todd Gordon still owns Eastern Championship Wrestling, and there is a league that's still Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Anyways,
So therefore, there's still an ECW.
my
and
bold
you're
prediction.
thinking-
My bold prediction for the year for 2012 is they cancel SmackDown. They get
My
rid of it,
bold prediction
and
for
they make a
next year
3-hour Raw.
is one of us won't be here next year,
And that.
or none of us. If the 2012 thing happens,
Do you think that
we're all fucked.
they need to merge the championships too? But but they won't merge the championships. That's what's going to happen. They will cancel SmackDown, get rid of the roster split, but make a 3-hour Raw and keep 2 World Championships. For no
Nah,
reason.
as long as there's 2 shows, they'll have 2 championships. Because their thinking is that
Well, we know that. I know that. I know. We don't have to go into detail.
people aren't going to tune in if there's
I
not a
don't have to go
champion.
into
on the other
detail.
show.
But what do you think? What do you think? What's a bold prediction? If you're going to be really far out there and you're going to give us a prediction, something really like that isn't the norm, or isn't something that like sounds outrageous, but maybe is slightly plausible, especially the WWE Network, because that is the wild card. Because we don't know if it fails, it could take Vince. It wouldn't take him out of business, I don't think, but it could severely cut into the business.
I think my bold prediction for next year is that both Brock Lesnar and Goldberg will make returns, and that the main event for WrestleMania the year after
The 2013 one, which is
Will be
28,
will be
29,
Goldberg and Lesnar.
against each other. Huh. We got a year and a half. We'll see what happens there.
You said you wanted a bold prediction, something that's plausible.
You've talked a lot about Lesnar.
And Goldberg just recently apparently put out an interview.
Do you think
saying-
Austin will wrestle next year? Well, that means WrestleMania or any other time.
Michaels, did you read that Michaels?
Yeah.
So
I
he
think
wants-
he was.
One more match with Austin. Austin
He's got one match.
said he's got one more, and he said if he was going to take on somebody, it would be Punk.
But I think that the Punk.
Which
I
makes-
think Punk Jericho's already set in stone. I think it's what's happening starting on Raw.
Well, that would be this WrestleMania.
Yes, that's what they were talking about for Austin. Was this
Oh, for
WrestleMania
this
coming
one?
up? Mhm.
I thought you meant the after.
No, because next year's 2012. So it'd be this WrestleMania coming up. It's 3
Well,
months
they
from now.
already announced that a Hall of Famer is going to be refereeing at WrestleMania.
Probably Austin.
Wouldn't surprise me. He's done it
Yeah,
before, and then that could
that's
also.
a big deal. It's just a ref, though.
Yeah, but if he's reffing the Rock match,
Oh, god damn, that'd be gay. That's terrible, because that match doesn't need any other gimmicks. You know what I mean?
oh, and apparently, did you read X-Pac? Apparently,
Who got caught?
yeah, but
Yes.
I don't think this is going to be a spoiler now. Apparently, he was going to be one of the surprise guys for Royal Rumble, and he was having a party afterwards.
That's issue coming up.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm saying I don't think it's going to be a spoiler now because he got busted with all those drugs and he's
they
in rehab and
they're going to do it
well, his
now.
party's already canceled. So I don't see him being in the Royal Rumble this year.
And it sucks because he had a lot of stuff going for him too.
Well, yeah. What now? He gets to hang out with Scott Hall and
But-
get paid for it.
Well, I guess we have a lot of weird shit, and we will have a lot more to talk about next year with the V Network and the massive amounts of programming we might be
We should
seeing.
predict. What's your prediction for our show next year?
Our show. Oh, okay.
I predict we'll actually get off our lazy asses and have a set.
Well, we're gonna starting next week. We're gonna add some segments. We're adding music. We're adding a theme song. That's one thing we're adding.
One segment is Pizza Boy Rape.
Pizza Boy Ray. No, but if I'm gonna make a prediction, I'm gonna say there's a chance we make 2 episodes a week. Especially if
We do a Raw one and a SmackDown.
no, especially if like they do the if network gets off like in the middle of the year and they start doing their own shows, we could literally do our normal news show and then we could talk about like the
Old
shows on
stuff that they've
network
shown.
and like and then maybe some other things that going on and maybe another show who knows I mean
Well,
maybe it's just another show just maybe another episode.
We did have talks about possibly another show that would be not always but specials.
Yeah.
That if people were interested, we've been doing the show for
September, end of September now.
we
so
still have
couple
no comments. I mean,
Yeah.
we know people are watching because we've seen the numbers. Somebody freaking break the cherry and comment.
Yeah.
One of the shows we talked about is we have 2 other friends that are big wrestling fans,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about doing a wrestling roundtable type.
Kind of like
thing.
those Legends roundtables.
Yeah,
Little
but
raunchier,
it'd be,
little
more,
raunchier
it'd be
gimmicks
a little
or
bit more of a
some things going on.
debate where we basically have ideas and we debate
We,
back and forth.
We would take like
you
a
guys-
fishbowl and just it'd be random topics. It could be about a show. It could be
Yeah.
about like a hot topic in wrestling. It could be something.
It doesn't
20 years
have
ago.
to. It doesn't have to be
random.
anything current. It could be stuff.
Mhm.
And-
Anywhere,
and-
any time period in wrestling.
So if you guys comment, if you're interested in that,
Let
that
us
sounds
know.
like something you like. Let us know. If you think it sounds like total bullshit,
It would probably be
Let
like
us know.
like a once
If
a
you
month
guys-
show. That's what
if you guys
it would
do
be.
like it, send in ideas for us to talk about.
Because what we do is we're gonna put them in like a fishbowl, and we're just gonna randomly pick them out. And we already have some ideas, and we're not gonna spoil some of it because we already have like a really cool idea. Will be the ending for every episode. They probably only be once a month. It's hard to get all 4 of us together in a
Yeah.
room, and we want to have like just a fun, crazy time where we're just kind of shooting shit, more or less. Kind of like the
Also-
show, but a little less formal.
Also,
As the tie.
comments. Well, it was an award show. Comments.
She wear a tie a lot.
Yeah, that's because I wear them even when I'm not on camera.
That's true.
Comments, let us know what you want to see this year. If we talk about something that you like and you want to see more of that, let us know. If there's something you don't like, let us know. We've talked about, with the show, taking it on location from time to
Yeah.
time, going to live
It's
events.
been a little weird for us recently, but now, but especially once the spring breaks and we get a little better weather,
Yeah.
I mean, like we might have a little better chance.
We've also talked about having guests on the show.
Yeah.
If that's something you want to see, let us know. Let us know what... We can't make you happy and give you what you want.
Unless someone tells us.
Exactly. It's like making love to a woman. If she just lays there and doesn't tell you what she likes, then the odds of her having a good time, well, it's probably pretty slim. So, don't be a selfish lover. Please tell us what feels good, what you like. Would you like us to bring lube next year? Let us know.
Oh, okay.
Do you want us to be more tender lovers?
All right. All right. Well,
So on that note, leave comments.
please, and have a safe and happy New Year. Bye.